All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call our meeting to order for the May 20th meeting for the Erie Land Bank. And in doing so, I'd like to seek a motion to accept the agenda, consent agenda.
If I could make one comment, I'd like to have number 5 removed from the agenda, and I can explain a little bit more about that once we get down there.
Okay.
It's at West 6th Street.
Yes.
I'll make that motion with that amendment.
And I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Takes us to the meeting minutes. Hi, Chuck. Meeting minutes of our meeting April 15th. Were there any questions or comments on the minutes?
I move we accept the minutes.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Takes us to the finance report. April.
Yes. So in your packet, you have the profit and loss statement. The balance sheet is copied on the back of that, and then the check detail list. So for April, the end of April 2024, it is showing that we have a net income of $8,048.02. And then the checklist is just showing the checks that were dispersed for April of 2024 and who they were made to and the amounts. And then also in here, I have the statement and report from Felix and Glucker that did our 2022.
If you want to wait until we get under new business.
Oh, okay. We'll save that for new business.
Sorry.
Thank you. Any questions on the finance report as presented?
I just have one question, and I should know this, April, I'm sorry. So if Felix and Gleckler did our audit, what does Baker Tilly do for us? Is that just accounting?
They were hired for two different reasons. So they're financial consultants for moving us toward the new software system that we're going to be using, and they had to help with the land bank audit that was kind of a mess from the transition from before when there was a turnover in our office.
Yeah, they were instrumental in getting the 2022 audit finally completed with Felix and Glucker.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions on the finance report?
We need a motion to accept it.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, April, you want to move to the auditor's report?
You want to do citizens'
Citizen
comments?
Good point. Yeah, let's back up. Citizens' comments. Any citizens here to be heard? Hi, Jeremy.
I guess. Jeremy Blazer of the Bayfront Eastside Task Force. I'm here to bring to the board's attention properties that Bayfront Eastside Task Force had requested to be pulled from a judicial tax sale many years ago, and that we still do not have in our property inventory. Therefore, we're not maintaining them, and quite frankly, they're not being maintained at all, so they're becoming a neighborhood nuisance. I brought this to the board's attention prior. I'm really sort of at a loss whether we should be requesting just to have the funds that we have already given the land bank returned, and we will pass on taking over the ownership of those. I don't think that's what the land bank wants, and quite frankly, it's not what Best wants. We want to get these, finalized so that we can take care of them and beautify and continue improving our neighborhood. I went back and looked at past minutes because, quite frankly, it's been so long. I had to refresh my memory from emails and from previous board meetings, even what happened. So I documented all that. I'll say two things. One, the land bank's minutes that are on the website are very helpful in that measure. Looking back and reminding myself of what happened and when it happened. I will say, though, the minutes end in, I want to say 22, so your minutes aren't being logged on the website 2023 and forward, so someone should probably look into that. I'll just back up and say that it was in October of 2020 that this board, and I know there was different members at that time, but voted to pull, it's a total of 4 properties, 2 different real addresses from the judicial sale, and sell them to Best at a instead of going through the instead of going through the judicial tax sale and auctioning them. Certainly, we are going to get those in our possession at a discounted effort that we really appreciate. We issued a check in January of 2021 for $5,500 to cover the initial land bank's costs on those, and looking back at those minutes, the redevelopment authority and land bank was certainly going in some leadership transitions. I get that maybe things didn't move real fast. Attorney Sundberg, according to your April 2021 and July 2021 minutes, reported that there was no title problems with those properties, that he was working to get them ready for closing and title transfer of ownership. So that was back in July 2021. There's a couple steps I'll skip, but basically in April of last year, I came to this meeting for one of our neighbors who was asking for a property, and just to speak on her behalf, and I just reminded the board at that time, so a little over a year ago, that we still did not have ownership. Attorney Sundberg in May of 2023, so a year ago, requested title searches from my attorney, Laura Mott, so they could begin quiet title action and get those into our possession. She circled back in July and we did not get a response. So I'll be honest, it sometimes goes off my radar of what I'm dealing with on a day in and day out basis. So the only reason I'm here is really to ask for a resolution and how can we get to the finish line. I feel like these have gotten forgotten, and I just want to put them back in front of everybody so that we can kind of finalize this and move on, and we'd be happy to take additional properties in the future.
Jeremy, I'm Attorney Gene Sundberg.
Sure, I
I
know.
think that I owe you and probably your entity an apology. I did get those title searches. Do you have the addresses of those properties that you can recite to me, and then you will get a full report
Sure.
by this time tomorrow?
445 East 5th.
I'm sorry, 1 second.
Yep.
I'm ready.
445 East 5th. Just double check that's right. Is that written here? And 614 East 5th, which includes 3 total parcels because it includes some alleyways that are attached to that parcel. And one fact I forgot to mention earlier, so I'll just bring it up. I do appreciate that the redevelopment authority / land bank did remove the structures from those properties because they were blighted and demolished and falling down. However, the neighborhood has not been maintained. So just the other day, we removed 30 tires from one of those properties that I still have in my possession. If anybody wants them back, I'm glad to deliver. But we're looking to get rid of them and many other tires. Sorry, Attorney Sundberg, you were saying?
No, Jeremy, if you would provide me with your email address, I'll make sure that you have an updated report again by this time tomorrow.
Sure, it's jbloeser @besterie.org.
Again, I apologize. You will hear from me by this time tomorrow.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll expedite it. Thank you.
Jeremy, thank you for sharing that with us. I don't think we were even aware of that. So we'll make sure this gets pushed through. So thank you. Any other citizens to be heard? Hearing none, I think we can move on to the executive director's report. Aaron?
The only thing I will remind the board is that there is the PA Land Bank Network Summit at Seven Springs on June 4th. It's a half day. I know it's maybe inconvenient for some, but Jake and I will be in attendance. I'll be presenting, and we can provide the board with a update of what was discussed and what we may have, takeaways from that at the June meeting. So.
At this point, do we want to review the, no, sorry, take that back. I see it's coming up.
On the edge of your chair back there.
All right, thanks, Aaron. So that takes us to the solicitor's report.
First and foremost, I am going to find out exactly where 445 East 5th Street and 614 East 5th Street stand, along with those 3 parcels, so that I can advise the board accordingly. And that's something that should not happen and will not happen, and it will get rectified immediately. The rest of the solicitor's report is the properties that the Erie Land Bank took back as far as the most recent tax sale. Those, again, we have to wait the 9 months from the tax sale. The title searches have been ordered and are starting to come through so that when that 9-month period expires, that we're ready to file that quiet title action to make sure that the title is free and clear so that we can, in turn, do what the land bank is supposed to do, is transfer properties to entities such as Best. So those are in process. First and foremost, I'm going to find out exactly where those files stand, who's with them, so that they're on my desk to get done.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I apologize. That should not happen. So I will rectify it right away.
Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, thank you, Gene. All right, takes us to unfinished business and new business, and now we'll jump into
Now it's
the
my
audit
turn.
letter. Yes.
Yes, so we have a letter from Felix and Glucker, who did our audit and also the completed audit for 2022. Those are provided for the board's acceptance. Natalie with Felix and Glucker, one of the partners there, was unable to attend today. They are finishing up the 2023 land bank audit as well as we speak, and should have that available for the June meeting, where she was wanting to attend that meeting and present the 2022 and 2023 audits for you, and take any questions at that time. But we are asking for an acceptance of the 2022 audit.
Okay, so you did answer one of my questions, and so they will still
Yes,
meet with
she
us
said she
and-
was,
okay.
yep, she could do both at the same time next month.
Okay.
Yeah, she apologized, but she was already scheduled for today, so she was unable to attend. So, I mean, I will leave it at the direction of the board. If the board wants to table this until next month and accept both audits at that time following her presentation, I'm fine with that. As you know, I had it on the agenda in preparation ahead of the meeting and then received notice she was unable to attend, so.
I think it would be better to do that. Give us an opportunity to ask a few questions and clean a few things up. So I'd like to seek a motion to table accepting this report.
I would agree, and I do have a question. It's really on the top of page 2. Maybe you can ask her to clarify what the significant risks identified. The comment is kind of quirky, and I'm not sure what she's going for.
And I think that's why it'd be good to have her
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Because I don't want to read more into this than what may be there.
Exactly,
but-
and so as you're, in communication, that was a question that I had. So,
Sure.
on that, I would agree with the chair's assessment of tabling this.
Sometimes us accountants can be too scary. We don't need to be. You never know.
Well, a missing comma or a colon or, punctuation, can matter, so. It's good to see progress.
Yep. Okay, so we were going to table this, right? Can I get a motion to table?
I move to table the presentation of the 2022 audit report until
Thanks,
next month.
Thanks, Chuck. Second?
I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Takes us to our first lot proposal, 855 East 23rd.
So in front of you is a proposal for a 55 East 23rd from Neely Properties LLC, who is, I believe, the adjoining property owner.
She is.
As a side lot.
They just purchased that property for their daughter to live in, so the side lot, parking, yard. Spoken with them numerous times, very good people. They're excited to have some land next to them.
Yeah, I know them. They've invested in some other properties. They're growing their business. They're good folks, and
I know that the property's still being finished up from the demolition. I think as of last week when I was out there, it still needed to be seeded. But other than that, everything else should be a go on it.
grass is growing pretty good. I just drove by it today. So.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So they must have seeded it recently.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
No, I've worked with them through the other programs I manage. I have a very good track record with them So I'm very comfortable with their proposal.
I'll make the motion for that then.
Thank you.
55 East 23rd.
Get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor for the offer at 855 East 23rd?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
So 853 or 857? Something like that, yeah, there might be.
Okay. 238 East 31st Street.
All right, so in front of the board is a resolution for exoneration of the past due taxes for 2023 for city and county, so that we can move this sale to the agreed upon purchaser. Upon board approval, it will be forwarded off to the school district for the school district's approval, and once that is all taken care of, then Gene and his team will take care of finalizing it at that point.
To me, this looked like the standard form that we've looked at before, right? Nothing out of the ordinary here?
No. Thanks to our agreements with the city and the county, it makes moving properties and clearing these taxes a whole lot simpler than the redevelopment authority.
Any questions from the school district's point of view?
I was gonna wait till we had the motion, but I was just curious what the school districts, what our taxes, if you have any idea what our tax responsibilities is there, and what will abate. I don't think it was on there.
Okay. No, I don't, I'm not aware of what that is.
Okay.
It's probably, probably around 1,500 or something like
Just
that.
curious.
And that was, it was taxed at the structured value, not the vacant, so that's what, yeah.
I'm comfortable
Are
moving
you
that
okay
forward.
without the number?
Yep,
Okay.
I am.
All right, then, I would seek a motion to accept the resolution.
Second.
Paul motions, can I get a second?
I'll do the second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Work plan updates.
All right, so in front of you, you guys have 3 years of work plans that we're working on. 2022 is getting close to being finished up, which is great. Couple highlights on that one. 221 Locust Street, I was up there last week. That demolition took place a while ago, but they've still been working on cleaning that lot up. This one they're making really nice for possible development there. If you get a chance to be up that way, check it out. It looks really nice. 623 East 11th Street was demolished, which was another one that was hanging out there for a long time. Actually, between the redevelopment authority and land bank, we did 15 demolitions in this past month, beginning of May. I think 4 or 5 of those were Erie land bank properties, so it's good to see those getting moved forward. And I was actually out this morning, some neighbors coming out, they're excited to see what we're doing and cleaning up their areas. On to 2023, 715 West 4th Street was demolished, and 435 East 28th Street was demolished. That 435 was a big one right on the corner, a big brick house that had fire damage, so the neighbors were extremely happy to see that one go. We did do our initial board of view at 2712 East Avenue, and that's going to be scheduled for a hearing, I believe, right, Gene?
Yeah, probably within 30 to 45 days.
We tried to do our first view at 2708 Downing. The other viewers did not show up, so that one will be rescheduled. Along with a number of other board of views that we're still waiting to get on the books so we can get these moving forward. Other than that, that takes us to 2024. Like Gene said, we're still in that waiting period, and Is it a 6-month waiting period, Gene, or is it 9 months?
It is 6 months.
6
It is
months,
6 months,
okay.
yeah.
So that should be,
And the plan is to, is to have it all done within 9 months total.
okay. So June's our 6 months, so we're getting to that point that we'll start getting to those and see what we're looking at. Any questions?
Thank you for that, and I know you've done this a couple of times. I'm going to ask if you can do it again. Can you give a really quick explanation of the Board of View? Just, I know we went over this before, but I can't remember that process.
Yeah, the Board of View is the last kind of step in the process. So when the parties can't agree or one party doesn't agree with the evaluation of that property, there is a process where a Board of Viewers, it's 3 viewers. It's a local real estate attorney and then 2 real estate agents or people within the real estate business. They come out, look at the property, and they're doing their own analysis and evaluation of the property. This is, despite what some people try to do, this is not another bite at the apple. This is not an opportunity to review or refute the process that got to that point of the Board of View. The Board of View is simply an external analysis and evaluation of the property by 3 professionals. The hearing, so they physically go to the property, walk through it, take notes, do their own evaluation. Then there is a hearing date set within 30 to usually 60 days thereafter for the parties to come together and make a presentation as to why our evaluation on the property is what it is. The prior property owner has an opportunity to present whatever evidence they might have. Most times, they do not have a separate appraisal, but they have an opportunity on their own as the prior owner to say, this is what I think this property is worth. The Board of Viewers take their analysis of going through and they take the evidence that is presented to them and will say, based upon our view and the evidence presented, we think this property has this value. Whereupon, if there's no appeal from that payment, if any, is made. If there is an appeal made, then there's another step in front of the local judge who will be a review of that process. And for the judge to overturn it, there has to be some type of a issue of law that wasn't followed. The judge isn't going out and walking through and doing what the Board of Viewers already did.
So it's not a valuation.
It's not. It's not. He's going to look at it and say, hey, look, what is it that one of these 2 parties felt was not done properly by the Board of Viewers? And then, if so, send it back for analysis. So that's kind of the process. It's the final step. Where they have initially filed preliminary objection saying we didn't follow it, and that here's our evaluation, here's our evidence as to how we came at this value, and if they agree, then okay, we're done. If they disagree, which is what's happened, then we ask for the Board of View, because otherwise things are just sitting there in limbo, because the judge or judges is reluctant on putting finality on it, which is what the Board of Viewers will do. So that's kind of the process. We've been pushing it. We've been forcing it. For example, the one that we were at last week, this is an out-of-town bank. You know, my argument has been throughout all this can't be part of your business plan. What are you doing? It's a dilapidated house across from Holy Rosary, right? And, you have three houses next to it which are in great shape, and you have some other rentals that are further north of it. But, that neighborhood needs finality, much like what the Locust Street people needed. We're there to protect the neighborhood. So this is dragging their feet to the fire. This bank dragging their feet to the fire, going, hey, look, either take what we've assessed it, or we're going to have independent assessors, and that's what we've done.
Thank you for the refresher course on that. I know it's been explained before, but so there is a binding component to that.
There is
assessment that they make, or that valuation that they make.
There is, and the view itself is really just an independent act for the parties to be there and to let the board of viewers go through the building. We've run into a situation where, they're thinking that they are pulling everybody together and that they can relitigate everything that has happened up to that point. That's not the situation. And that was the pushback that I gave recently that caused a little bit of consternation. But that's okay. But the board of view is their opportunity to go through the building, and then there's a hearing based upon that. So that's the process.
Thank you.
And two of the viewers did not show up at the.
Correct.
Is
Correct, which is really unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
ignorant about the topic. Are these viewers paid for their service, or
They
is it
are.
volunteer? So.
They are. They're on a list
Okay.
with the county, and one of which, when the notices were sent out, and the first notice comes from the judge. It's an order assigning them to it. So if if it doesn't meet your schedule, you better let everybody know, because we're all planning on coming to that. And so I think what's happening is that there's going to be, two of them are probably going to be regrouped. But yeah, that should not have been a surprise. That should not, in fact, that should not have happened. That, 1 out of 3 showed up, but everybody else did.
Regroup, does that mean extra jury duty?
Yeah, that might be. They might be. Yeah, it's. I think we're going to find a couple of new viewers, which is fine.
Yeah. Okay.
We just need to, we can't kick it down the road.
Yep.
Especially that one.
Chris, I have one question maybe for Jake. I see, and I apologize if this is something that's been on here and I just haven't seen it. On 353 West 3rd, rescinding the declaration, deeding it back to the owner, they've removed the blight. How often does that happen? I guess I'm just curious.
That was, honestly, probably a one-off.
Yep.
Okay.
We had filed and went to post the house, and the house was no longer there. So they demolished it in the middle of it, basically. I don't even know that there was a demo permit pulled for that.
I think that's where the problem came in, is that they demolished it without a permit.
Yeah.
And so between
so nobody really knew that it was disappearing, and then went to post a house that found out did not exist.
I have this vision. You're driving up like.
Yeah.
That has to be a little strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember, I think you called and was like, are you sure this address is right?
Mindy was the one that had done it, and she had called me, and she's like, "Are you sure this is the right address?" She's like, "Can you pull us up, because I am not finding this house." And she ended up finding where the house was in the dirt spot that was there. But I guess for our point, they take care of it. We're
So
just as
blight
happy.
removed. I mean, it was
Yeah.
the house
It was actually
removed.
removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that individual, again, was a situation where he received the blight notice and said, okay, I'm going to take the extreme. I'm not going to be cited anymore, and pay to have it removed, much to everybody's surprise.
Okay.
Yeah, we never had any contact from them in that process either. I mean, I don't think we can complain at this point,
Yeah,
but at the same
Makes
time,
makes
it
you
was.
wonder, though, like, what can we do to incentivize that a little more? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds funny, but yet it's
Yeah.
not. Like, what, I mean, that initial letter, can there be more teeth put into that? Like,
We did start issuing a new letter and we're posting a little bit differently than we did
Yeah.
before, so it'll be interesting to see how those play out.
Yeah, we're changing our process on the condemnation side a little bit, and that, you know, the process doesn't, we have what we call a pre-condemnation letter, which is more than likely what this individual got, that basically threatens in the next 30 to 60 days, we could file condemnation. So, in working with Gene and his team and reviewing the entire eminent domain process, we kind of retooled the pre-condemnation letter to make it a letter and now a property posting that then enacts our ability 10 days from that posting to enter the property for the purpose of appraisal, so that we're going to take the appraiser into the properties before we file our condemnation, so that our appraisal reflects the interior condition of the property, so we can kind of mitigate any issues with determining demolition versus rehab, because in some cases we get into this and we're in court and, you know, the appraisal says demolition, you know, and so if we're there, we're going to demolish it. And so we want the judge to know that we've actually been into the property, so that, you know, when Gene's doing all his work, we're fairly certain, you know, we can stand behind the condition of the property when we're there in court.
Thanks.
We
so
literally.
get a few more of those.
Yeah.
We literally had a gentleman who was purposely keeping the outside in terrible condition because someone had told him that if it looked bad from the outside, it would keep his tax assessed value low. Now, the inside was not the Taj Mahal, but it was not what was reflected on the outside. And that was an interesting conversation with that gentleman. So that this way, hey, we're going to post it 10 days. We're coming in, and we're going to take a look at it. And we're making arrangements. I started to reach out to my contacts at the City of Erie Police because sometimes you might be walking into a hornet's nest. So that process has started.
Well, thank you for the update. I do want to say I get maybe 1 or 2 calls a month from people who are happy to see something coming down. I don't know if you all get a call randomly, but so yes, neighbors are happy.
Today I posted around 20 properties, and
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get, but everyone that I talked to was very.
I mean, it's just
thankful for
nice to
what
be
we're doing
reminded.
and excited to see that, you know.
Yeah, it's good.
More's
It's
in the
good to be
works.
reminded of that because, you know, some of these situations are negative, but you have a lot of people out there thankful for what you're doing. So just want to thank you for that. Okay, that wraps up new business, right? Any other business?
I just had a question. Why did you remove,
So that's the property, it's the one that was subject to the option agreement that we discussed last month, and Jake and I, in reviewing that document, you know, in preparation to send it out to the board, you know, kind of got to thinking and looking at that, and so Jake wanted to reach out to, what's his name? Evan. And really, you know, we want to kind of talk to him, talk through some of the issues he's had, and bring a sales agreement to the board with some detailed lines of timelines as far as what he can do in his due diligence stage, because we kind of felt that entering into an option agreement wasn't doing anybody any justice, so that if we can just come to an agreement on a timeline that goes through 2025, I think it'll be best for everybody in the land bank that we just have an agreement and he can feel confident that he could move forward with, you know, development of that property.
Yeah, it's been, what, 3 or 4 months since he met with
Yeah.
us?
Yeah,
So maybe it's gotten tight enough, close enough where he's...
yeah.
So if we see something, it's a go, then it's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
move
so
it.
that's-
And
that's
more
good.
conversation with him. I mean, he's ready for it. He just doesn't know how long it's going to take. But
Okay.
he's ready to do it.
Well, we're ready to look at anything that's reasonable, and we want to work with them, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Look forward to seeing it, so. Okay, if there is no other business, any other questions from the board? Good.
Cynthia, did you want us to pull out the audit so you can just put it in our packets for next week, next month? So put mine on the left so you don't have to look for it. Save on the copy paper here.
There you go. All right, on that note, we are adjourned. Thank you.
I'm a little thrifty.